So how does a location's latitude affect its climate? What did you guys say? Colin, what'd you say? So it can change or affect the climate. What'd you say? Oh yeah, okay. So like tropical. What were the other two? Do you remember what we talked about yesterday? Polar and temperate. Cool. Does that kind of make sense? So absolutely, this is kind of the end effect. Yeah, right? So depending on where we're at, where's the tropical climate? Where does that one occur? On the equator, right? Like on this band. So if we did this, and again, friends, I would strongly recommend that you write this down right now, right? Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you logistically for next week, we will be having a quiz over climate and seasons. Climate is what we've been doing. Seasons is what we're doing today, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Just a short, like 5 or 6 questions, but I just want to give you a heads up that is coming, okay? So anyway, I just want to be aware of that. So we've got the tropical climate in that equator area, and then what comes right next to the tropical climate, right just north of it? Temperate. So up here, kind of in this area is temperate. And then way above, polar. Does that make sense? Yeah, so we got the polar climate way up here. And then how does that compare on the bottom? Right? You guys know this. I know you know it, but I want to make sure that it really is settling in and making sense to you. So you've got polar at the bottom, you've got some tropical in the middle, and then you've got the temperate in between. Okay? So that is the actual effect. Why is that true? Why is that true? Get us started, Haley.
Because if the equator, there's direct sunlight, and above that kind of.
So it's true because at the equator, or nearer the equator, right? The sun's light is very, very direct. Does that make sense? So we have direct sunlight. And is there a lot of atmosphere that has to be gotten through at the equator? It's just a little slice. We kind of talked about this yesterday, but we didn't really draw a picture. So you might want to draw this in your picture too. So if you kind of draw, so this pink stuff is supposed to be the atmosphere. Are you with me there? So the atmosphere is like that big blanket that goes around the earth and is pretty even. Okay. If you look here, the sun's light that goes through near the equator just has to go through a little slice. Right? So it's direct sunlight. Only goes through, let's see if I can spell. Oh my gosh. Some atmosphere. But if you look way down here or way up here, how much space does that light have to go through? Yeah.
It has to go through a lot more. The sunlight has to have a more surface, I think.
Right. Yeah. So at the poles, the sunlight is what we call indirect, right? Indirect sunlight. So that light has to spread over more area. So friends, if you do not have this written down, I want you to write it down now, okay? Please, please, please. It's going to go over more area, and it has to go through more atmosphere. Travels through more atmosphere. Okay, cool. All right. We are going to start a lab today. We're going to do the lab today. It's that pink piece of paper that I just gave you. there are 3 parts to this lab. And you're going to be working in groups and you're going to be going through each of those parts. I just want you to kind of take a peek at this so that I can answer a couple of questions. Oh, I didn't actually get it put in there. Sorry. So I'm just going to kind of talk it through looking at the sheet here. At each station, and you're going to stay at one station, you've got a lot of equipment, okay? Please make sure that you use the equipment appropriately. Please make sure that you are not making poor choices with the equipment, okay? In particular, David, could you hold up that styrofoam ball that's on the stick there, okay? We were talking during our planning yesterday, my earth science colleagues and I, and one of the other teachers said that she has struggled with students messing around with that styrofoam ball on a stick, drawing things on it, sticking pencils in it, doing all kinds of ridiculous things that are not what one is asked to do with it, okay? I have never had that problem in my classroom, and I don't want you all to be the first to do that. Do you understand? Okay? So you're going to use it for what you need to, but use it appropriately, okay? All the other equipment should be pretty self-explanatory. Everything is in here. The one thing that I do want to tell you about is in part 3, parts 1 and like steps 1, 2, and 3, you will need a lamp. And I only have 4 lamps, and there are 7 different stations. So you'll need to kind of pace yourself. And are you okay? Okay. I need you to relax and listen. Okay? Welcome to Friday in my classroom. Thanks. So you need to make sure that you're using the equipment. And like I said, there are only 4 of those, so you might need to like shift from one group to another so that you can all use the lamp, because there are only 4 of them. Does that make sense? Okay. So I think, Haley, I'm going to have you work with this group. Is that okay? And then you guys will be a trio. And my trios that are right there can just stay right there. Colin, your table's going to go right there. Grace, your table's going to go right there. Maddie, you can go there. You guys can go right over here. And then Hannah, your table can go right back there. Make sense? Okay. Have fun. Good luck. I didn't have this before, but I will get it now. I gave you a lab sheet, that pink sheet that's at your table. Okay, everybody's got one of those. So I just want you to take a look at this. I'm going to walk you through a couple things so that you understand what's going to happen. I'll put you in some groups in just a moment. The goal for us today is to figure out what causes the seasons. Now, some of you have talked about this before in science classes and may have an idea, but I want to make sure that everybody stays focused on what this activity is trying to get you to see, okay? Because there are lots of misconceptions out there. Do you know what misconceptions means? Misunderstandings, okay? Really, really, really smart people that don't have the right answer, okay? There's a famous video out there that they videoed a bunch of Harvard graduates. When you think of Harvard, you think of really, really smart people usually, right? Okay, so they interviewed a bunch of Harvard graduates, like on graduation day, they're just like walking around like, hey, you know, they're wearing their robes, holding their diploma, like, I'm so smart. Hey, tell me why the seasons happen. 98% of them, or something like ridiculously high, had the wrong answer. It was embarrassing. Because they don't understand it. It's not hard. You're going to learn it now, and you'll be smarter than lots of those Harvard graduates, okay? So you're going to look at this. There's part 1. Part 1 is going to be, so all of the lab stations have all the same equipment. Part 1 is a measuring activity. Part 2, we're just going to kind of look at some pieces and understand how they go together. Once you get to part 3, you're going to start using the little foam balls. Connor, can you hold up that foam ball that's at your table? I just want to point out to you, I just want to make sure everybody's listening, okay? As you know, when you have lab equipment, you need to use lab equipment for only its intended purpose, okay? For some reason, styrofoam spheres with sticks through them seem like nice toys, nice art canvases, I don't know. Do not write on, poke holes into, screw around with the spheres on sticks, okay? Use them for their intended purpose and that only. Should be obvious, should make sense, but I just want to make sure that you're understanding that, okay? I want to kind of walk you through this, and you're going to have this other part here. We're going to do some more measuring. Once you get to the flashlight part, if you have questions, obviously let me know. That goes for everything, of course, okay? And then at the end, the thing that I wanted to tell you, oops, there it is, okay? When you get to the final summary, you will be turning this in, and I'm going to grade your final summary, which means that you need to have it written down and written down well. Does that make sense? And the way that you get the final summary right is by doing all of the other stuff well, okay? So just fair warning that that is the plan, all right? We're going to count off to divide ourselves up so that we've got enough kind of space out, and then we will get started. Just a second here.